All right. So here is review from yesterday's practice. Directions. Read the passages, then answer the following questions. Teamwork. In 1925, dog sled teams worked together to save the people of Nome, Alaska. Some children were ill, and the doctors feared the sickness would spread. The medicine the children needed was 1,000 miles away. It was winter, and the roads were blocked by snow. The only way to get the medicine to Nome was on wooden sleds pulled by dogs. 20 dog sled teams took part in the journey. Each team ran for several hours before passing the medicine to the next one. The last team was headed by a dog named Balto. After running all night through the heavy snow, Balto's team arrived in Nome with the medicine. What is the main idea of the passage? So, first things first, I need to find what is my topic. So, first things first, I have my title of the passage, which is teamwork. But I think it's a little bit more because I saw something that was being repeated over and over. And it was specifically talking about the dog sled teams that work together to save people. So, I think a good topic would be teamwork and dog sled teams. All right. So, I'm going to also circle this sentence because I think it's super important. And I actually think the sentences that follow all tie back to this idea that dog sled teams work together to save the people of Nome, Alaska. So, what key details tied to this? Well, the medicine the children needed was 1,000 miles away. That goes back to this dog sled team working together. I also see that the only way to get the medicine to Nome was on wooden sleds pulled by dogs. I see that 20 dog sled teams took part in this journey. Each of these teams ran several hours before passing the medicine to the next one. And then last detail I want to underline is that after running all night through heavy snow, Balto's team arrived in Nome with the medicine. So when I put all of these ideas together, the thing that I come up with for what the author wants me to know is that dog sled teams work together to get medicine to sick children in Alaska. All right, so now that I have my topic, I have what the author wants me to know. I need to check for evidence and look at my answer choices. So A says dog sled racing is a big sport in Alaska. There was no sentence that said that, so I'm going to put a zero next to A. The second answer choice says Balto's team saved 6 children in Alaska. I have about 2 sentences that talk about how Balto's team saved 6 children. I see it says the last team was headed by a dog named Balto, and it says that Balto's team arrived in Nome with the medicine. So I'm going to put 2 next to it. C says 6 children in Alaska needed medicine that was far away. I'm also going to put 2 tally marks next to this one because it does talk about the sick children in Alaska in 2 sentences at the beginning. And then my last answer choice is D. Many dog sled teams work together to help sick children in Alaska. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 sentences that all go back to this idea that many dog sled teams work together to help sick children in Alaska. This also best matches up with what I wrote down for what the author wants me to know. So I think my best answer here would be D. So now, which sentence best supports the answer? And a sentence that I choose is going to be a sentence that basically tells me what my main idea is. The sentence that I see that best matches it would be A. In 1925, dog sled teams worked together to save the people of Nome, Alaska. That is a super important detail directly from the text that shows me my main idea. All right, next example. Title reads Baby Kangaroos. A female kangaroo has a special fold of skin that forms a pouch. The pouch is like a large pocket on its stomach. When a baby kangaroo or joey is born, it climbs into its mother's pouch. At birth, a joey is only about 1 inch long. It needs to stay in the pouch so it can grow more. After several months, the joey has grown enough to leave the pouch for short periods of time. By the time the joey is 10 months old, it is ready to leave the pouch for good. All right, so first things first, I have my title, which says Baby Kangaroos. But then I also see a lot about this pouch. So I'm going to make my topic Baby Kangaroos and Pouches. All right, now looking through my sentences, I think this is a really important detail because it ties baby kangaroos to pouch. When a baby kangaroo or joey is born, it climbs into its mother's pouch. I think that's an important detail. Even more important, I see this sentence that says it needs to stay in the pouch so that it can grow more. I think that's probably going to be the closest thing I have to my main idea, that these baby kangaroos stay in pouches so that they can grow. Another key detail I'm going to underline is that after several months, the joey has grown enough to leave the pouch for short periods of time. And then also that last sentence about once it's finally 10 months, then it can leave the pouch altogether. So when I look at all these details and what I've circled for my main idea, I think what the author wants me to know about baby kangaroos and pouches is that baby kangaroos stay in their mother's pouches to grow. So now let me look at my answer choices and I'm going to check for evidence. A says female kangaroos have pouches on their bellies for carrying their young. That answer choice has one sentence that shows that. This is a really strong piece of supporting detail. This whole paragraph is not about how female kangaroos have pouches on their bellies for carrying their young. It's all about the baby kangaroos being in the pouch and actually growing. So this is a tricky Ricky supporting detail, half answer, not fully there. B says kangaroos can store many things in their pouches. I'm going to put a zero next to this. It doesn't say anything about carrying many things. Like it doesn't say kangaroos keep snacks in their house shoes or anything like that. So there's nothing there to support that. C says a baby kangaroo stays in his mother's pouch until it's strong enough to live on its own. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences that all talk about baby kangaroos staying in the mother's pouch until it's strong enough to grow and live on its own. And then lastly, I have D, a baby kangaroo is called a joey and is only 1 inch long at birth. There's one sentence that talks about that. So C would be my strongest answer. A, almost there, but not quite because it's not about the baby kangaroo. It's more about the female kangaroo. Remember, my topic is about the baby kangaroo and the pouches. And C best shows me what I learned about baby kangaroos and pouches. So now I need to figure out which sentence best supports the answer that baby kangaroos stay in their mother's pouch until it's strong enough to live on its own. A, B, and also C are all just details from the text. D actually shows me after several months the joey has grown enough to leave the pouch for short periods of time. This sentence actually shows me that baby kangaroos are in its mother's pouch in order to grow. So D would be my best answer for best supporting evidence. All right, last bit of practice, learning from pen pals. Pen pals are friends who live far apart but write letters to each other. It's exciting for pen pals to get letters in the mail from another city or country. More importantly, pen pals learn about each other's lives. They may share ideas about their families, pets, and favorite foods. They also may tell each other about special places and events in their towns. Through words and pictures, pen pals make each other's worlds a little bit bigger. So first things first, I need to figure out what is it that the author is talking about? What is the topic? So I'm seeing pen pals in the title. I'm seeing pen pals all over the place. So I'm going to go ahead and write pen pals for my topic. So now, what does the author want me to know about the pen pals? So one big detail is that pen pals are friends who live far apart but write letters to each other. I'm going to circle this sentence and write an M next to it because there's these 2 words at the beginning of this sentence that really makes it stand out. This sentence starts out with more importantly. So the first couple sentences about pen pals are far away. They send letters to each other. It's exciting for pen pals to get letters. More importantly, this is a big old but. So this is like, something juicy is coming on after it. More importantly, pen pals learn about each other's lives. Also remember, when I'm thinking about what a main idea is, it's what the author wants me to know. It's what the text is mostly about. It's also about what's most important. This sentence starts out with the phrase, more importantly, letting me know this is very important. So the author really wants me to know that pen pals learn about each other's lives. So what else supports that? The second sentence that talks about how they talk about families, pets, and favorite foods. This third sentence where they're also talking about special places and events in their towns. And then this last bit here about how pen pals make each other's worlds a little bit bigger. When I tie all of these pieces of detail together, especially with that sentence that starts out with more importantly. The thing that I think the author wants me to know is that pen pals write letters to each other and learn about each other's lives. So now, looking at the answer choices, I need to check for evidence. A says pen pals can be really good lifelong friends. There is no sentence about lifelong friends. That is a tricky Ricky. That doesn't make any sense for this passage. B says having a pen pal is a good way to learn about life in another place. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different sentences that all tie to B. B looks good to me. C says pen pals send letters and pictures to each other through mail. That's the first sentence of the text. That's only one sentence in the text. So I'm going to only put 1 mark next to it. And then lastly, D says having a pen pal can be really exciting. There is 1 sentence that says it's excited for pen pals to get letters in the mail. So it only has 1 piece of supporting evidence. B has the most evidence to support it. And it also looks the most like what I wrote down for what the author wants me to know. So B is going to be my best answer. Having a pen pal is a good way to learn about life in another place. So which sentence best supports that answer? Or in another way of saying it, which sentence best shows me that having a pen pal is a good way to learn about another person's life? The best answer that matches up is that one that starts out with that key phrase, more importantly, pen pals learn about each other's lives.